Any illness prevents us from being who and what we truly are. Schizophrenia is an illness, not a person. There is no such thing as a schizophrenic. Having lived symptom-free from schizophrenia for over 6 years now, I think it is safe to say that I have fully recovered from the illness at this stage in my life. Even though I have been sober for so long, there is no 100% guarantee that I will never encounter another relapse. But with everything I have gained from my 12 years of experience, I am now in the good position to hopefully not fall into another relapse. Myself being a strong activist for human rights and equality concerning mental illness, the biggest blow to my and our dignity is the industry's latest perspective on genetic predisposition. From what I have been hearing and reading, the mental health industry seems to be leaning towards this new fad theory that genetic predisposition is an absolute for all cases of mental illness. And this I do not agree with. That is like saying that anyone who encounters mental illness at any point in their life is, to put it bluntly, a genetic retard right from the start. Where is the dignity in this new fad absolute perspective, I ask? No way am I a genetic retard in essence or disadvantaged below you. To that I say, try going to deeper levels of reality and you will find that subjectivity is the same in us all. That is what these so-called experts cannot bring themselves to admit or even accept, that we are all equal in essence. Heaven forbid that you discover that you are just the same and just as equal in essence as a mentally ill person. The likes of this new fad absolute perspective on genetic predisposition is another true example of that continual prejudice people like myself always contend with, and there is no dignity or equality in it whatsoever. As an absolute for all cases, it is inhumane, immoral and inaccurate. From my experience, it is incorrect, it is wrong. Genetic predisposition for this, genetic predisposition for that, where does this psycho-babble mumbo-jumbo nonsense end? To presume that any one type of mental illness is for a certain genetically embedded in our disposition before we are born and is going to surface at some stage in life is the equivalent of presuming your lottery numbers are going to turn up at some stage in the next 0 to 80 odd years' time. To be totally fair and honest, this new fad theory, which is nothing more than a theory, is just as borderline psychotic as the real thing. Sadly, yes, it is genetic if there is a family history of mental illness passed on to offspring, but on the other side of the coin, we still cannot rule out the fact that environmental factors alone can still trigger a very healthy normal brain, predisposition-free, to encounter a mental breakdown. How many very healthy-minded individuals have encountered some sort of psychotic break due to being caught up in such horrific environmental factors as the natural disasters and terrorist attacks we have faced recently? Genetic predisposition or environmental causes? There is still a distinction between both, and I do not believe that any one is an absolute. How can you so-called experts be so presumptuous and blatantly claim to the contrary? If the industry is going to be so bold to try and pin all mental illnesses and defects in nature to genetic predisposition alone, then at least give us some remaining dignity to this inaccurate presumption and acknowledge the other side of the coin, the more important and essential aspects of life, the good and positive in nature. Love, kindness, compassion, grace, beauty, art, creativity, music, intelligence, endeavour, wisdom, insight, realization, genius, and a multitude of other positives to this so-called genetic predisposition. From a more holistic and transpersonal perspective to reality, quantum physics verifies that subjectivity, our essential being, goes deeper and beyond physicality. At the quantum level of reality, subjectivity is identical in both mentally ill and sane persons. We are all the same in essence. We are all made of the same stuff of reality. So even if our genetics were mentally disadvantaged, our human essence is still beyond all that, and just as pure and normal as the so-called sane person. Regardless of what side of the coin we fall on, genetic predisposition or environmental causes. Our human dignity and equality is still the same as any other regular individual. Our human essence still remains untouched by any prejudice or distinction. And if the truth were ever to be known, I would say that it is the particular characteristic traits of the individual that is the genetic predisposition, which may be prone to encounter any type of mental illness due to various environmental factors experienced in life. It is the characteristic traits of the individual that is the genetic predisposition, not the illness. The illness is the result, not the cause. Initially, any form of psychosis is a mental chemical reaction to a certain traumatic situation encountered in life. It is the particular characteristic traits that are the cause of any type of mental illness, not the illness itself. Just for argument's sake, I would like to prove my point here with a very real example. Take myself. There has been no trace of mental illness in my family tree. However, myself personally, I am very sensitive in nature, I have a strong creative bent, an eager curiosity, and I'm rather introspective. Now, given the right environmental situation, which is bound to turn up at some stage given the 1,000,001 scenarios that life throws at us, my particular characteristics are a magical formula to be prone to manifest a psychotic episode if anything goes dramatically wrong along my path of life. So do you see what I am saying? It is not the mental illness that is the genetic predisposition. It is the individual's characteristic traits which are the genetic predisposition, not the manifesting illness. There is no one gene or genetic imprint for schizophrenia, bipolar, depression or anxiety, since these are just man-made names for various debilitating symptoms of mental illness. But there are a number of gene characteristics that can manifest these resulting symptoms. That is the difference. The illness is the result, not the cause. So let me state it again so it is clear. It is the particular characteristic traits of the individual that is the genetic predisposition, which may be prone to encounter any type of mental illness due to various environmental factors experienced in life. It is the particular characteristic traits that are the genetic predisposition, not the illness. The illness is the result, not the cause. Even if you so-called experts were correct, genetic predisposition is not our true self, and nor is it an absolute of reality. Our subjective being is behind and beyond all that, and that is the only absolute of reality that makes us all the same and equal in essence. Human dignity is the highest priority for me now that I have recovered from the horrors of schizophrenia, and I will always defend human equality for people like myself who have been through what I have. For further information about my presentation, you are welcome to visit my website at www.freeman33.com. Thank you.